Hello Year 9, this is Mr. McGettigan and this is another lesson from the English faculty. Okay, so in today's lesson we're going to be looking at an extract from a novel. The novel is called The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. And it's kind of following on from the work that you guys were doing last week in your English lessons surrounding the Black Lives Matter movement, because this is very much in the news, or has been in the news over the last few weeks. As you can see here, The Hate You Give is a novel loosely based on the Black Lives Matter movement in the United States. And the Black Lives Matter movement is a movement that campaigns against the unjust treatment of black people by the United States, by the police in the United States, particularly young black men who are up to 9 times more likely to be shot dead by than other Americans. And the purpose of us looking at these few bits of extracts and poems and things like that from black authors is just to give a diversity of voices that you hear in the English classroom, or in the English lessons that we're setting, and just to give you an opportunity to hear those voices and to kind of engage with those kind of stories. Now, The Hate You Give is written for young people. It's written for kids of your age. It is written from the perspective of a young black girl, a teenager who gets involved in protests about police brutality and things like that. So the reason that we're doing this is so that you can kind of make your mind up about what you think and to develop your own opinions on what's going on. Okay, so oh, and by the way, I read this book last year, I think. Was it last year? Yes, it was last year. Absolutely loved it. Really engaging characters. It's thought-provoking. It's heartfelt. It's quite funny in at some stages, and there's a real kind of beautifully written relationship, certainly between the narrator, a girl called Star, and her father, and her brothers. So it's a really good book. I recommend you read it. So the first thing that I would like you to do is, and this can be predominantly a thinking task, but there will be some writing involved. I would like you to think about these statements. Statement number 1. People should respect the police at all times, whatever the situation. Statement number 2. All police in the UK should carry guns. The majority don't. We don't have all policemen carrying guns in the UK. Only kind of specially trained armed police officers do. And statement number 3, the law should apply differently to the police than to the rest of the population. Now, I'm not going to tell you what I think about these statements. I'm not going to tell you whether I agree or disagree. I would like you to look at these statements and work out whether you agree fully, disagree fully, or agree partially and disagree partially. You know, some of these statements go, yeah, I kind of agree, but, or I kind of disagree, but. So it's worthwhile for you to kind of develop your own ideas about what you think. Okay, I would then like you to choose one of these statements and write down what you think about it. Give a short paragraph, maybe 3 or 4 sentences saying, yes, you agree and the reasons why, or no, you don't agree and the reasons why, or you could talk about, I kind of agree, I kind of don't, and here's the reasons why. Okay, pause this video and do that now, please. Okay, so you now should have chosen one of those statements and written down what you think about it. Okay, so we're now going to do a little bit of reading, but before we do that, I would like you to watch the trailer for the film version of The Hate You Give. This will just give you a little bit of background of the story, and it will give you a little bit of insight into who the characters are, what's going on, that kind of thing. It's a pretty good film. Yeah, it's a pretty good film. Obviously, it's not as good as the book. So pause this video. The link for the trailer is on the Show My Homework, but it is also on the PowerPoint on the third slide of the PowerPoint that's attached to show my homework, so you can get it there. Okay. Now, what I would like you to do is read the extract from The Hate You Give that is attached to Show My Homework. It's a PDF file attached to Show My Homework. I have also given a YouTube clip to a reading of the chapter. The reason that I'm not reading it to you myself is because the narrator of the novel is an American girl, and for me to read it in my male West Country twang, I don't really think it would be a very good reading experience. So there is a YouTube clip attached to this of so that you can listen along to the extract whilst you read. Okay, pause this video, read the extract now, please. Okay, so we are now going to move on. You should have read that extract by now, and we're going to move on. So we're going to do some after reading tasks now. First of all, we're going to connect to the story, and there's a bit of a note here that I'd like to read to you just to make it clear what kind of thing we're looking at here. Many stories and novels are seen from one perspective, and this perspective might affect the way in which the audience views the event. Okay, we read stories from certain perspectives, and sometimes we get a first person perspective, and The Hate You Give is written from the first person perspective, which means that we only see the story through one set of eyes. We only see incidents and events from the story from one perspective, one point of view, and in this case it's Star. Okay, so how we interpret events in a story can be often shaded by how we see them. In this extract, we see the shooting of Khalil from the perspective of Star, the narrator of the novel. But others may have seen the incident from different perspectives or point of views, and these are equally valid and worthy of exploration. So what we did is we saw this incident in the extract, the shooting of Khalil, from Star's perspective. What I would like you to do, and this is your task, is write two brief accounts of what you've just read from two different perspectives. One from the point of view of another police officer watching on, so maybe the partner of the police officer that that was speaking to Khalil and shot him. And I want you to write another account of what we've just read from the point of view of a passerby who saw the whole thing. Write down your thoughts about Khalil's behaviour. Now, it's quite clear that Khalil is being disrespectful towards the police officer. He says "Nunya" when the police officer asks, "Where have you been tonight?" He says "Nunya" to mean none of your business. He also just says, "Just give me the goddamn ticket." So he's being disrespectful to the police officer. Do you think he's justified in behaving in the way he did? So now we're trying to look at this one incident from the novel from two different perspectives. Pause this video now and do that written task. Okay, you should have done that now. We are going to move forward and we're going to try and connect this to the real world. This is the last writing task that you're going to be doing this lesson. Write down your thoughts about whether or not you think the incident you've just read could happen this way in the real world with reasons. Okay, that's the first thing I'd like you to do. Then write down your thoughts about whether the police officer involved in this chapter should be treated as a criminal in any investigation. So if he's found guilty of an offence, what should his punishment be? So if there was to be an investigation into this event, and I'm not going to give any spoilers as to what actually happens within the story, but this event happens kind of early on in the story. I think it's maybe the second or third chapter of the story. should he be treated as a criminal, and give your reasons why. If he's found guilty of an offence, what should his punishment be? Okay, so that's the last task that I would like you to complete this lesson. That's everything from me. Hopefully you're all doing well and enjoying these lessons, and we will see you very, very soon, hopefully. Okay, bye bye, Year 9. See you soon.